Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. The customer complaint today is that the air conditioning does not work. Well, it blows out, but it blows out warm. I did look at it to see what was going on with it, and the compressor itself is not turning. So I'm going to take you through the procedure now to diagnose what the problem is and how to go about repairing it and getting the air conditioning system working. So, okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to locate our low side fitting. And we're going to take the cap off. We're going to take our high side fitting off. And we can locate that now. Connect onto the high side first. Connect onto the low side as well. Okay, and I can tell, let me bring you over here, I'll show you. You can see right here that there's insignificant Freon inside there. There's really nothing inside the system. It's pretty much bone dry. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a visual. We're going to look around the entire air conditioning system. You see underneath here, right off the bat, you see that this here, you see that oily spot on that airfoil? And if you look right up in there, you see underneath the accumulator, you see how rusty that is in there? And it's wet. Now I got a feeling that our problem is going to be that accumulator is going to be rotting away, but we're going to open up that accumulator cover and we'll see what it looks like underneath there. With the screwdriver, you don't want to lose these clips because these clips we need to reuse them again. What we're going to do is just hook up underneath here with a long thin screwdriver like that and just push it off. We're going to hold on to these. Same thing right here. You don't want to break them because we need to reuse them again. Alright, I'm going to have to move that light out of the way. I hope you can see. And there should be one more up top. Okay. All right, let's take that cover off. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind that that accumulator is leaking. Let's pull it out a little bit. Now what happens is it gets rusty inside there. It's actually very common in this particular vehicle, so they do rust away. So we are going to change this high pressure line right here. We're going to take out that 13mm screw right there, and then down on top of the compressor itself there's actually another 13mm screw right down in there. I'm going to take that out. We're going to unplug this switch right here, and the way you do that is you just pull up on that little tab, you rock it back and forth just like this, and you pull it out. Now that's a safety switch because if the pressure goes either too high or too low, it'll shut the compressor off. In this case, it ran out of Freon, so we know that that's the issue with why the compressor was turned off. Now, this is the accumulator. Once I take it out, you'll see how rusted that thing is. But what we're going to do is now we're going to take this little clip right here off, and we're going to unplug that switch. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing down there. I'm just lifting that tab up again and just rocking it. And we'll take it off like this. We're going to put that off to the side so it's not in our way. And now, as far as disconnecting the accumulator, or receiver dryer, whatever you want to call it, this little clip right here, you pull it and take it off. That's a safety clip. And then down here, there's another one right down here. We do the same thing down there. Just take it, and you just rock it, and it comes off. Now, as tempted as you are to throw them away, don't do it. You'll need to put these back on. Now, we're going to disconnect these fittings here so we can get these lines out, but I'm going to take this one out first so I have a little more room to work inside there. So let me get a couple of tools and we'll take that line off. Okay, don't know how you're going to see this, but we'll try. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take out that one right there. It's a 13 millimeter. I want to point this out to you. When you're taking this out, be careful. This is the positive part of the cable here. You don't want to take a chance on shorting it out. Alright, and once you break it loose, then we'll just take that nut out. Hold on to this because you will need to use that later. Now you'll notice that there's O-rings on the end of that right there. Never use the old O-rings. You're always going to change them and put new ones on there. Now this we're just going to move over to the side like this for a second, and then we're going to go down. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film that with you, but I'm going to take out that other 13 millimeter down the bottom. Be careful down there that you don't drop it, because if you drop that nut, it's going to be a little difficult to find. So get down there with a magnet to assist you just in case. Okay. Okay, now again, hold on to that. We're not going to lose that either. Now we're going to take that line and take it off of the compressor. And you just rock it because the O-ring is stuck in there, like this. And then we're going to take this off to the side for now, and we need to switch over this this pressure switch right here. So for now we're going to put this off to the side, and we're going to concentrate back on that accumulator down there now. I'm going to see if I can get you in there so I can show you what to do, but it's going to be a little difficult. You see this piece right here? There's a special tool made. That's what these tools are right here. These are to actually open up the snap ring on there and to expand it so we can get it off. You see how it has the, it's spring loaded. We put it around the piece like this, and then we just pull it up and take it off. So I'm going to try to do it so you can see. It goes around like that, and then we take it and we twist it and pull it up at the same time, and then we just take the hose and rotate it back and forth and we can take it out. But I'm going to need two hands to do this. All of the tools you see me using in this video are available on my Amazon store. Check the link below for a full description. You feel it pop up, then you just take your tool off like this. I know you probably couldn't see what I was doing there, but I'll show you real quick anyway. And then you take this off. And what happens is there's a little spring inside there that you need to push that spring back with that tool. Alright, so you see there's 3 O-rings on there. We are going to change all 3 of those O-rings. But for now we're just going to put this off to the side. And then we're going to concentrate on doing the exact same thing to that one down there. Hopefully you can see it. Let's try it again. Now you take the white. Now the spring itself is on this side right here. So we take this, put it around it like that, You see this piece right here? You can watch it push in. I am going to need a second hand to do this. We're going to pull in on that tool this way, and we're going to rotate this and pull that off at the same time. Okay. I will tell you, that was a little bit tight. Alright, I'm just going to take it, and we're just going to rock it. Alright, that was extremely tight. Alright. And now we have all line down here is disconnected as well, and our accumulator is disconnected. So we're now going to take the accumulator out, and we'll pull it out. I'm going to need two hands to do this, it looks like, so don't go nowhere. We'll do this together. It would be easier coming out through the bottom, but I'm going to do it right up on top right here so you can see. Let me get you in a little closer so you can see what it looks like. See what happened? See how the bottom rotted away? See that? That's because what happens is it gets stuck in the water gets inside that plastic jacket, and it just eats up the accumulator, and it just rots it away. Okay? Okay, alright, let's grab the new one. You can see where it's leaking right here. Right in that corner, right there. See how it's all rotting away there? Alright, okay, let's grab the new accumulator, and we're going to change a couple of O-rings, and we'll continue. Okay. Now, a good accumulator will come with all of the O-rings with it, but if you don't have the O-rings, make sure you change every O-ring that's on here and also on the unit itself, I mean on all those hoses. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take off all of this stuff here. I always put it back on because it actually keeps it from making a mess. You want to match it up to make sure that everything is correct. And then we're going to take our pressure switch, and we're going to take this switch off, and we're going to reuse it on the new accumulator. All right, that's the old O-ring. If you don't have that O-ring, you're going to change it. But like I said, most of the time the quality parts comes with a new one. But that's the old accumulator. We'll put that to the side for now. I'm going to take our new O-rings. Okay, this one actually came with a new O-ring on there already. So now before you put anything back together, you're gonna put oil on these O-rings before you screw this switch in, because if you have a dry switch and you screw it over a dry O-ring, you may damage that O-ring. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of this oil. This is oil for the refrigerant. We're going to take it like this, and we're going to take a little bit of oil, and we're going to put it on like that. Just wet the O-ring a little bit, and then you screw this fitting back on like this. Now you don't have to go crazy tightening it down because there's an O-ring on it. We just snug it in just like that, and then that's done. All right, now these O-rings have to be lubricated before you put them back on to the tubes there. So these are all the O-rings. We're just going to put these right here for now. And we're going to separate them so we know. They look like they're all the same anyway. All right, let's go over to the car, and we're going to take the O-rings off the old lines, and we'll put the new ones on. Okay. All right, what we're going to do now is you take this line, just like this. You take a scribe, and you hook the O-ring, and just take each one of them off. All three of them come off. like that. All right, so that's the 3 there. Now if you remember, we have 3 more down here as well. And we're going to take all 3 of these off too. Remember, you never use, even though these O-rings may look good, you never use an O-ring over again. Okay. We're just going to sit that right there for now. We're going to get rid of these O-rings so we don't have any errors. Okay, I'm going to do this right in front of you so you have an idea. You take each one of the O-rings and you soak them in a little bit of refrigerant oil, just like that. Okay? And then you take the O-rings and you put each one on here just like this. And make sure it goes into the groove. Okay, so now we have 3 new O-rings on here. We're going to put this line back out of the way for now. And now we'll take our other 3 O-rings, put them in the oil, just like that. And then we'll put them all on one at a time. Make sure all 3 are in their grooves where they belong. And then we're just going to put this off to the side for now. Make sure it doesn't get dirty. And now we're going to stick our accumulator back in there. And now it's back in there. And now before we go down to the bottom and put that cover back on, we're going to try to put the cover on from the top up here. So we're going to put the cover on like this, and we're going to snap these clips back in there. Okay, I'm going to lift this up, put those clips back on, and then we'll come right back. Okay, now that we have the clips back on, we're going to take our hoses like this, put them back in. Now remember, you lubricated these, and we're going to take it and rotate it and push it in until you feel it snap in. Now I'm going to need 2 hands to do this. Okay, now it's snapped in. See, it's snapped in as tight as it can go. And then we take our clip like this, put the clip back on, like that. And now we're going to take our second hose like this. So you can see better. I'm going to rotate it and push down, and we'll have it snap in. All right, so now we have it snapped in here as well. You're going to put your clip back on like this. We're going to take our plug that we previously unplugged, and we're going to put it back in like that till it snaps in place. And that's it, our accumulator's done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to change over that pressure switch on that other hose, and we'll continue. Okay, all right, so now that we have the new line here, again, comes with the new O-rings attached to it. Make sure you use them. We're going to put these in the oil and let them soak already. They are both the same size. So we're going to put them in the oil. We're going to switch over this switch here as well. Like that. Okay, let's go over and we'll put it back on the car and we'll get this wrapped up. Okay, so now let's put our hose. Now remember that this went down to the bottom like this, and this one was up the top. So we're going to put the hardest one on first, which is this one. Remember that pressure switch that we disconnected? We're just going to put it back on, and we're going to push it in until it snaps in place. And that's it. Alright, so we tightened up the screw down there with our new O-rings. We tightened it up here with our new O-rings. And the accumulator is put back on. All our switches are reconnected. Our pressure switches are reconnected down here. They're connected up. Our lock clips are in place. That's it. We're ready to vacuum pump this down into a vacuum now. Okay. We'll reconnect our machine onto it, and we'll pull it down into a vacuum. And we'll make sure we have no other leaks. Now, whenever you change a hose, you know what? Let me just get this started here, and then we'll talk here. Okay. I know it's a little bit noisy, but now, when you install new hoses, a new accumulator, any kind of parts at all that you put on a air conditioning system when it's new, you'll need to pull the unit, the entire air conditioning system down into a vacuum to remove any kind of moisture inside there. By pulling it down into a vacuum, you're actually the boiling point will actually boil off any moisture that's inside the system by pulling it into a vacuum. So we're going to leave it run on a vacuum for probably about 15 minutes, maybe a half an hour. That way it'll get all the moisture out of the system and we don't have any problems whatsoever. We did change the accumulator, and we did change the high pressure, the high side line. So we do need to install refrigerant oil back into the system. A good rule of thumb is that if you're changing the accumulator, you want to put in 2 or 3 ounces of oil, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to install 2 or 3 ounces of oil back into the system. Once it pumps into a vacuum, and we confirm that there is no more leaks inside the system, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to leave it sit. Once we pump it into a vacuum, we're going to watch that gauge and make sure that the gauge doesn't move off of the vacuum. So I'm going to go for about 15 minutes now, and then once we get it sucked down into a vacuum, we'll come back and we'll continue. So get yourself a cup of coffee, a beer, or whatever, and we'll come right back. Okay, so we pulled it down into a vacuum now for a half an hour, and we let it sit just to make sure that there is no loss of vacuum, which is not losing anything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to install the oil into the system. And the way we do that is we just open up this valve right here. And the oil goes right into the system. And now we're going to charge the system up. It calls for 27 ounces, which I know is about 160. So we're going to enter it, charge it, and that's it. You want to make sure you close your gauges off before you start the car up. So we're going to shut this off now so we have a little quieter. And then we're going to check our pressures on the high and low side just to make sure it's in the normal range. So let's do that. Okay, so now we have the AC running, as you can tell. The pressure is up a little bit. Normal range is supposed to be somewhere around 30 and a little bit over 200, usually about 2 1/4. Now we are in the back of the shop here and there's very little air circulation here. So we're going to let this run for just a little bit and then we're going to take it and road test it and make sure it's okay. So that's it, we're all set. Alright, the AC is nice and cold. We put the thermometer inside the vent, inside the dashboard just to make sure that's nice and cool, which it is. The customer is going to be extremely happy, especially being that next couple of days is going to get pretty hot. So that's it, we're finished. We're going to take it for a road test now, make sure it's good, and then it's out the door and on to the next. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.